And we are live. Just checking my mic levels here. Looks pretty good. Hey Alex and Virus, thanks for dropping by. You guys just caught me checking out the land situation this morning. I usually drop in every morning and check out the areas I'm in just to see if there's any tempting offers in the morning. How's everybody doing? Let's see, Alex. I got the Dragon Riftwatcher Legend card for $19.50. Let's check out where that's at. I haven't looked at it the last couple days. Let's go to the market and I was just purchasing. I bought my weekly alpha card, and this week was, sorry, getting started off. This is the wrong account. So this week my weekly alpha card was Lina Natura. I'm at the point where I think I've bought like a summoner 3 weeks in a row. So let's go to what we were originally talking about. And going to the Rift Watchers. And he is water and legendary. So C-Rec. Wow, it's sitting at like $21.50 per BCX this morning. So $19.50 is pretty good. Overall, when it first came out, it was about $17, $18 somewhere. So it looks like it's trending up. Looks like a good solid card. Has any of you guys had some good solid play experience with it? I have not bought one yet. I do intend on getting one because I like the whole sea theme with pirates and captains and stuff like that. So I am interested in it. I haven't dove in and got one yet. Virus says I still need 5 BCX of that one. Oh, Agor Longtail. You're not talking about this one. I like Agor as well. Agor is a good solid. Let's go. So I don't know. Hey, Gathering the Magic, thanks for dropping by. And Garut, happy Saturday to you as well. I'm a big fan of Agor as well. Let's look at. Let's see. He has dropped off. It looks like that. Sometimes these can be misleading though, because it's if you buy a multiple BCX one. But either way, I mean, it looks like it's trending at $21.50 US dollars. So it looks like you got a pretty good deal there, Alex. $19.50. I have a 1 BCX, and I do use them from time to time in high mana matches. It is one of the ones I want to get up to level 2 or 3. But as it's kind of expensive when you're buying multiple BCX, you have to kind of make a choice. Hey, which card am I advancing? You know. So it's a good solid card, though. I do like it. Groot says, loving C-Rec. It's low mana. I've been spamming and loving it. So you're throwing it in there in low mana, with it being possibly like one, if not the only card. That's an interesting approach. Let's look at it again. I have not seriously looked at it. Obviously, it looks like a really good tank. 11 mana. Has return fire, which obviously would make it good against ranged and magic. Also has bloodlust. Good solid. I don't know. I'll take your word for it. I'll have to try it out a few times whenever I might rent one first before I dive in, but I do like it. Gathering says, definitely picking up more Riftwatchers cards when I can, hanging on to the packs. And it's overpowered with Reflect especially. Yeah, I saw that with the Return Fire, and I would have to agree. It's really strong card. As what Gathering says, I did a video this week where I did open up 10 Rift Watchers packs and 10 Chaos packs as well. I did okay. I think the numbers, when I did the numbers, they still yielded less than what the packs actually cost. But I had enough cards there where I was able to bump up the levels of several of my Rift Watchers cards, which I think at this point I may have bought maybe 25 packs worth. Probably not. Yeah, probably about 25 packs worth. So, I think we've all been talking about it lately, the low numbers. Somebody had a video this week. I'm trying to remember who did the video. It wasn't you. It wasn't Gathering or myself. And somebody was talking about the low actual numbers of Rift Watcher commons that you would really be surprised at. That the commons, the number of full level commons is actually lower than some of the higher level, higher rarity cards. So that was interesting, I found. Alex says, pulled a gold legendary. I just sent you a pack. Oh, nice. Sounds good. Which legendary did you get? Gold legendary is always nice. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It was Aftersound. Shout out to Aftersound. All credit where credit is due. I do usually watch his videos. He's good at pulling the numbers. I think there's several guys that are better numbers runners than I am, but he's good at pulling the numbers, and I found that quite interesting. Weird Mix Shorts in the house. Hey, thanks for dropping by. We are just talking about cards. Kind of a side note, I was playing Splinterforge last night, and I actually went in to do the new survival mode, aka Electrum Mine run, and I had to reference Gathering's video from a few weeks back because it's not exactly clear how to jump in and get started. I actually had to delete that video. I'm gonna have to redo it this evening because I made a few mistakes along the way, and like I said, I think they could iron out the UX and how it's, how you jump in, and I'm not exactly sure if it's going to actually be worth it to play unless you really need Electrum. And I've been talking to my brother about this. I haven't really been in a situation where I've been putting a lot of upgrades on my characters or my equipment lately in Splinterforge. So we'll see though, and I'll run the numbers. So, but that's what I've been up to. Did I get the pack? First of all, thanks. Let me log out and log back into my account. Sometimes it takes that. No. I did not get the pack so far. That would be, I can log out. That's one of my tertiary accounts, Alex. That is my account that I use to rent cards. But yes, the pack is not lost. It just went to a different account. My main account is just all Bronze Dragon with no zeros in it. I actually have 3 accounts with Bronze Dragon as a name, with the 0 being in various positions or no 0 at all. So yes, thank you for that, Alex. I did get the pack here. I do appreciate it. So I can confirm. Wibble's in the house. Can't get along a Saturday without that Wii. Thanks for dropping by. Gathering says the Electrum Mine does burn a lot of Forge. People aren't playing it much because you can't use the fragments or essences yet until the new hero system comes out. Yeah, I was thinking about that. And whenever I redo my video, I'm trying to do the video and kind of be different from your video. I didn't want it to seem like, oh, I'm just copying off your video or something or other, but I did want to give my impressions. And I did one last night, and it, just to kind of give you a wrap up, it kind of seemed boring to me. It didn't really seem exciting, so I'm like, well, I'm going to redo this because I hit a few snags. I was trying to get started, and I'm like, well, how do you do this and everything like that? So I'm going to redo it, and I need to do the numbers. And I do agree with you that I think that it comes down to the new modes of play coming into the game with the use of the fragments and the advancement of the hero system. I think that's going to affect it because at this point, if you're playing along, you're basically just buying, spending Forge, and you're getting stuff to, amount up, but it's not usable yet. Okay, let's see. Alex wants me to open that up. Let's go ahead and go back. I did not send, I should have sent that pack over. Let's see what we get. Just going to send this to my main account, which I have more than enough potions for. Gathering, where did the name Bronze Dragon come from? Well, you may be interested to know that I'm also a longtime home brewer, and I'm also a longtime Dungeons and Dragons player. So over the years, I had to make up a name for my home brewery, as it were, and I came up with Bronze Dragon Brewing. And after that, I just kind of used that for a lot of different things. And being a big D&D fan, that kind of bled over into my new channel. Came up with that. I just called it Bronze Dragon Gaming. So that is how, I guess it wasn't a long story, but that's how it came about. Okay, we have Chaos Legion pack. Wonder if I have enough potions. Yep, I have enough potions. So let's go ahead and open this pack, courtesy of Alex Bernard. Thank you very much. See what I get. No legendaries, but 2 rares, so that is above average. All good standard one. Love Goblin Psychic. Zenith Monk, excellent card, especially in low mana. And Molten Ash Golem, all very good. Good pulls. While we're here, let's go ahead and open the Gladius case. You know what I've been mulling over, and you guys can put your input here. Recently, and I put this in a video, recently my guild got access to Bloodstones. And I have been buying them to open my Gladius cases to improve my legendary possibility. And it's kind of in the 30 to 40 cents per 5 range. But I haven't, and I've been buying them and probably spent $10 or $15 worth of money on them. But I haven't got any legendaries yet. So I'm kind of at this space where I don't know whether I should keep buying Bloodstones. Bronze Dragon sounds like an inn from the Shire. I agree. Stop by the Bronze Dragon Inn. Have an ale. Lotnick's in the house. Good morning, afternoon. Bronze Dragon, thanks for update video. If not, I will not know the buying packs from other accounts using credits, and buying DEC for exchange is forbidden now. Yeah, I kind of took that, the change in the terms of service this last week, just as a time to go back and just look at the terms of service and see exactly at, what we are agreeing to. Obviously, you click that button. Most people don't read through it. So, a few things I pointed out. If you haven't watched the video, go back and check it out. A few things you're agreeing to that you may not know that you're agreeing to. But, everything, every game has this wall of text you have to agree to, and most people are not, reading through it all, especially since a lot of it's in legalese. I used to do this method normally. Is it the best way to get DEC in the game? And I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of doing a few things that are possibly against terms of service. Not that I knowingly knew they were against terms of service in the past. And I think the main reason is that up to, maybe 6-8 months ago, it was really hard to get, DEC into game with all the hoops you had to jump through, right? Especially if you're a new user. I can remember being a new user and just thinking, wow, this is a pain in the butt, and at some points I was like, oh, do I really even want to keep doing this? To be frank with you, I use the bridge service that they have in play here, where if you click Get DEC and click Fiat, this is the bridge service I use. And I've been using this for a while now to get DEC or SPS. I love it. It's taken a lot of the hassle out. Of course, this Transact bridge, I think it's one thing where it's legal and can be used in some areas, and it can't be used in other areas, maybe in different countries. This is not available. I'm sorry if it's not, because it's made things a lot easier. Now, when you first use this, you have to jump through a few hoops. The normal kind of, if you're used to signing up for other services with crypto where you take a picture of your ID and you wait 24, 48 hours, you have to jump through that once. But after that, it makes it very easy to use. Gathering says, I use the swap feature on Hive to swap different tokens into DEC when the exchange rate is good. DEC is down as now, so I might want to grab some more DEC. Yeah, I agree with that as well. I've done that as well. From my different videos that I play multiple games on the Hive blockchain, and from time to time I do pull some coins out of the different games and convert them to DEC or SPS. So I have been doing that as well. Not a lot lately. I do know that Gathering did a whole series of videos where it was kind of, pulling coins out of one game and converting it to buy and soup up or strengthen his $10 account. That's great. I love that series. I haven't done it a whole lot, but whenever the switch over to SPS staking happened a while ago, I did use that to some coins from different games to beef up my SPS purse, as it were, to kind of get my account better, so I'm making better rewards, basically. The Chuni's in the house. Welcome in. Thanks for dropping by. Are you still buying SPS? Why or why not? Yes, I am. Last week, I did not buy any this week, but last week I bought a little bit, and I've basically been using this opportunity. Obviously, not investment advice. My pure objective to buying SPS when it was down is to kind of get my account. My account's been playing in gold. You can see that I'm making my boost is 9.76 now in gold 2. When I make it, when I make it and play in gold 1, it's lower than that. It's like 6 to 7. So I've been trying to get my boost up. So have I been putting a lot of money into SPS? No, but I've been putting a little bit in there to try and get my boost up. So that's really my way of thinking is, if you're playing the game, SPS is down. It's a good time to buy it. If you can see yourself continuing to play the game in the future, I would think it's a good investment. Obviously, who knows what cryptocurrency does? We all know that it goes up and down, and on a whim it can go if you find yourself saying that a certain cryptocurrency cannot go down any further, you're wrong. But in the same sentence, if you find yourself saying it can't go up, you're wrong as well, because we all know they fluctuate wildly. I am actually surprised. Let's go over here to Splinter Cards. It was SPS was a little bit going a little bit higher last week, and it's on the downturn again. So maybe I need to buy a little bit more. I don't have an exact attack on it as Gathering has with his recent videos on doing the 10% thing. I just buy randomly. But I would say, if you're in this game to play and you foresee yourself playing in the next few years, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's down. Look how far it's down. And I hate to say it's down, but to an investor or a person, if you're going to be in this for a while, look, I mean, just compared in the last 60 days, it is right at 0.016 versus where it was at 0.022. And these graphs are kind of exaggerated because that's not a huge difference, but it is almost double, right? So, yeah, I hope that answers that question. Virus says, I know some don't like P2P, but if you can find a middleman, there are people selling SPS DEC on the buy-sell channel in Discord fairly often. I mean, it's a valid point. And like I said, you're a lot larger in the ecosystem than I am, Virus. I guess a lot of it comes down to your outlook, and I guess I'm just a glass half empty kind of guy. I always have been. Whereas I guess my wife is a glass half full kind of gal, so I guess we balance each other out pretty well. But I always look at it like if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. And I've seen with multiple games, if you don't have a trusted middleman, watch out. So I wouldn't even do that. If Virus came along or somebody else big in the ecosystem were willing to help me out, I probably wouldn't have a problem with it. But just doing a one-to-one swap, that's not for me. So. Lotnick's saying a few different things, but retracted it. Okay, totems are cheaper, really. You know what? I've been tempted to buy another plot of land lately, and that would mean I would have to buy another totem. I do have a totem for each of my land plots, which was my goal. Let's see what they're going for now. So the common total is 17.5. Not bad. Yeah, I think around 17.5. If I did an average, that would probably be in the average of where my common totems were. I paid a little bit more. I think $25 is the most I paid for one, but I've also got them for like $10 as well, so kind of averages out. While we're looking at this page, Chaos Legion packs are still in the 126 to 130 range, which they have been in a while. Rift Watchers packs, 337. I think we all can say that Rift Watchers packs have a good value. Even though that video I did where I opened 10 packs, the cards came in, price-wise under what I paid for the packs, I still felt that I got a pretty good value. And player-wise, I was able to advance to, level up a few of my cards. I think Rift Watchers is a good, solid set. I think it's, and like we've been talking about, it will probably be one of the sets of the lowest population going forward. Although, into the new expansion, we may see that going forward in the game, and I'd like to see what everybody has to say about this, we may see less and less card packs printed, depending upon how they approach it, going forward. So, this may be the new norm. I don't know. The Chaos Legion was just kind of way out there, a lot of them printed. I don't think we're going to see that again, because I think they're going to try to keep the pack value up. So that means printing fewer packs. Who knows? That's one of the primary ways they make their money as well. So obviously they're incentivized to to print more. But why print more if you're just going to end up burning them, like we have for the last, at least Chaos Legion we burned, and then Rift Watchers now we're burning. So I would say get in on some Rift Watchers. I do need to get a few Summoners. I don't know if I might buy some more packs just for the fun of it, but I do need to, you know, my main point is usually just buying singles to try advance those. So Gathering says SPS almost at my buy price again. Can SPS fall below cent? What will happen if it does? Mass buying or mass panic? You know, first of all, to answer your first question, yes. We all know that, like I just said a few minutes ago, if you think that a crypto cannot fall further than what it is now, you're wrong, because it can. We've seen a lot of cryptos just flatline. So do I hope it does? Obviously, no. I think that whether it becomes mass buying or mass panic just depends upon your outlook. If you're in the game and you've played for several years, I think it's the buying potential. Now, you know me, I'm not one of those guys. I'm not a whale. I'm not going to jump on here and throw thousands of dollars into it. I'm not saying that. But it's a good potential for us that know that we're going to play in the future to advance and mount up some SPS, so you're making better rewards when you play, right? So I look at it that way. Are there going to be people who freak out and leave? Maybe. But also at this point, I would say that if you're freaking out and leaving, you're going to be selling your stuff off at pennies on the dollar, and you're going to be taking a huge loss. So at that point, you got to ask yourself, do I want to take a huge loss and get out, or possibly see it go back up? So are you voting yes or no for each of the pre-proposals? Why or why not? You know, I had seen that Bulldog had put a video out, and I don't have an opinion on the pre-proposals. Does anybody have a link, a website that I can look at the pre-proposals? I have not read. I did go search to see if they were up here to look at, and they are not, because they're in the pre-proposal mode. Yeah. If somebody has a website for me, I'll go take a look and give you my opinion on it. But I didn't watch Bulldogs because I just had flipped it up on YouTube like 5 minutes before I was starting the show, and I'll have to take a look at what he has to say on those. Is there a benefit of having plots in the same tract over just being in the same region? Looking to pick up another plot in 43, but all mine are in tract 6. I don't believe there's a benefit. I don't believe there's a benefit for being in a specific tract. Obviously, we know the benefits of being in the specific region, being that you don't have to pay transportation fees. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's a benefit in being a specific tract. Where I've positioned, and I went from the region perspective of buying multiple plots of land in the same region to take advantage of not having to use pay the transportation fee. So if I'm wrong, I'll bring it out and I'll point it out in a future video, but I don't think I haven't seen anything to that nature. As long as they stay away from the big sales to push packs, the market should keep the print rate low for the next set. Thinking about that for a minute. You know, on the big, you know, I was always pushed away from the major big sales that they've had in the past on the packs, you know, right before the packs came out. I've never been one of the big purchase guys. In the past, I've bought, you know, a few here and a few there. I think the most I've bought is 100 whenever I bought the Chaos Legion, which I still have setting aside. But I'm not one of the big pre-purchase. And, you know, I have mixed feelings on that. Hey, if you're a big dog and you want to go into it, that's fine. But at the same time, I've got to be thinking that if I was one of the big guys and I went in and bought thousands of packs of Chaos Legion, and now looking at them, I've got to have a bad feeling about that. So, and that would affect my purchase decisions going forward too, you know. Obviously, if I got burnt once or twice, then I would think twice about, in future expansions going in and buying that big of a bulk, right? I can see the advantage. You want to have your name out there. Hey, he's a big guy in the ecosystem. He bought 1,000 packs or whatever, and he got these advantages. That's fine. Taking advantage of those extra advantages they throw out is fine, but I would think about twice before I went and did that again, seeing what happened to Chaos Legion. But I think it's going to be totally different going forward. So I would have to agree with you on that, Virus. Gathering says, I still say don't set a pack amount. They will never get it right. Too many market conditions. Set a date. Release airdrops at the end of each month. Last 30 days. Set a cap. I thought about that, and I kind of agreed. I mean, instead of setting a number, but here's the thing. The whole theory of NFTs and rarity exists on having a set number. I do like the idea of just saying, okay, these will be sold from this month to this month. And then after that, they will no longer be sold. And then there'll be airdrops in between somewhere, right? I like that idea. Then there's going to be no need for burning. It's kind of like a season in other games. You have these things that are going to be happening during this period of time, and then once that happens, then it's on to the next one. Or if there's, like they were talking about, a 3-month period in between where no packs are available, that would incentivize people to go ahead and buy their packs during the season. Obviously, it would also incentivize people to buy packs up front and preload, so they can have, as good a possibility to get all the airdrops as possible. Virus says, Splex has a good view of pre-proposal. Let's go. Sorry, I'm not very familiar with Splex. Here's proposals. Okay, here's pre-proposals. Looks like there's 3 here. SPS governance proposal: convert unused DAO token holdings into SPS, burn cards for Riftwatcher packs, and SPS governance proposal: swap USDC for DEC. Okay. I'll tell you what, these are rather long, so I'm going to read through these, and then I'll give an opinion in a few days. I'll do a video and put my opinion. I hate to rush through something and give my opinion, because sometimes these things you can read through them and you're like, oh, I'm against that, and then read through them a couple more times and then you're for it. So burn cards for Riftwatchers packs. Allow the burning of cards as a way to purchase Riftwatcher packs. The following are the proposed burn amounts required to purchase 1 pack. 200 BCX of any common card plus 1 voucher equals 2 packs. This seemed kind of weird. Yeah. Once again, I'll have to just read through these. The proposal is for DAO to use the current USDC reserves to purchase DEC. This swap will be handled by the DAO management team in a way that minimizes fees and slippage as much as reasonably possible. The max purchase price for DEC is okay. Here's the deal on this. Give me a bit. After the show, I'll have to read through these and kind of seriously concern. I don't want to just throw my opinion out there just off the cuff. I want to read through these. A lot of these proposals that come up about using the DAO for this and that, I really have to think about. So I'll just leave it at that. I'll do a short video on this and give my opinions on these 3. But I don't want to kind of riff off the cuff and go back and read it again and think, oh, I was completely wrong. Gathering says, I still wish they would use Splinterforge's method of burning cards to get cards of higher rarity. Could be a lot of fun. Burn 4 commons to get a random route. Yeah, I like that idea, but the game is also solidly built around a different NFT, making higher level NFTs. Obviously, the combining versus the burning. So that goes back to one of those DAO proposals on the burning. Obviously, you're going to want to burn to increase the rarity or increase the value of cards. I think that a lot of this is going to be taken care of when LAN 1.5 goes live. I don't know about you guys, but I've been kind of keeping an eye on the channel in where they've been talking about land expansion and such in Discord, and the guys in the Mavs where they're talking about the testing they're basically doing. I think I'm in the firm feeling that once land 1.5 goes live, that we're going to see a lot of these cards being soaked up, and I don't think we're going to have to worry about burning them. Maybe wrong, but I can just go from my perspective, how many cards I've had to buy off the market just for 10 plots, and just kind of extrapolate for the guys that have a lot more plots. That's going to be a huge amount of cards, and there's going to be especially people who have whole regions and whole tracks and regions. Obviously, they're, at the beginning, you're not going to have all of your plots up and running. You're going to have a certain smaller percentage, and you're going to work towards getting them up. But as time goes along, that's going to be soaking all of those cards off the market, and that's the point, right? And that's the point. And I think that card prices are going to go up. I think card rental prices are going to go up. So either way, even if you're, say, for instance, not in the land game, you're going to benefit from the cards leaving the market, because then you're going to be able to rent some of your cards out for much better. And maybe we might get back into a situation where you're making a decent amount of money off of renting cards. So I know that's off the topic, but plus, they could add a DEC and or voucher cost to burn the tokens as well. How about burning cards when land comes out to get land resources, burning commons to get common resources, burn legendaries for essences? I mean, these are all good ideas, Gathering. And it would go towards the overall objective of getting fewer cards on the market as they go away. Obviously, I think we're mainly talking about Chaos Legion cards here, because the other expansions are much smaller compared to the Chaos Legion. So I think it just comes down to waiting until land 1.5. And I was kind of hoping, from what they said, land 1.5 is very close to coming out. But keeping my eye on the Discord, it seems like there's a lot of little issues, and I think in the meeting this week they had pointed out 17 or 18 official JIRA tickets that are still open on to be resolved. Hopefully some of that's been resolved since Monday, but looking at the chat that's going on, every once in a while somebody comes up with what seems to me like a major issue going on with, I think the main things I've seen are people talking about equations not being right. In other words, I'm doing this and I'm not getting what I expect out of it, and so forth. So we can cross our fingers. But I do agree. I mean, I think that after land goes live, I think a lot of this whole thought process of needing to burn cards goes away. Call me if I'm wrong, but I think there's no way around it. Land is going to soak up so many cards that I don't think we're going to need to worry about burning cards. The con of that is it would dilute the value of land. Burning cards for resources. Yeah, I can see what Virus's point there is. If you could just burn cards, buy common cards and burn them for resources, why would you want to invest in a plot of land? I can see that point. Gathering says, with 18 bugs to fix, it is going to take a while. They may fix one and inadvertently create another. Yeah, I mean, that's the nature of coding, and I'm not a coder, but I've said in the past I do work closely with programmers, and I have been involved in some testing recently. So that's the nature of QA testing, right? You surface a bug, and that bug, you create a JIRA ticket, and it, depending upon how involved it is, it could have several sub-tickets off of that. So one bug could possibly have several people working on it because it has caused several other things to be wrong. So that is a possibility. But that's why we test. And like I've said before, this is better than having it go live, finding the bugs, getting them reported correctly, tracking the reporting on them, having people work on them until they're fixed. Because once this goes live, if there are bugs, there are going to be people that jump on those bugs and exploit the heck out of them, right? And then we get to a point where somebody has taken a bug and exploited it and made tons and tons of what can be converted into real money. And then, it's just the situation we don't want to be in. So I want to test the calculations to harvesting in the next Mavs release. I don't think they are correct in the current version. Yeah, I think that's what I was alluding to. I've, in the last week, I've been checking on the Mav chat in Discord and just kind of listening to people talking back and forth. I will give a shout out to the people on the team that have been providing a lot of communication. Okay, one thing about this game that I have seen that's been different, and I think it's a change in gaming over the last few years, is the fact that the development teams have been a lot more communicative with their fan base, their player base, right? I'll give a shout out to this team because it seems like in Discord, there's usually somebody from time to time from the dev team that jumps in and answers questions. And sometimes they stay on for a long time answering questions. So it's, from an investor or from a player standpoint, you don't want to get in a situation where you expect that. Obviously, it's great if they can answer your questions, but that's also eaten into their time on actually working on stuff. So I'll give a shout out to the team. I do agree they're doing a great job in keeping the communications back and forth. We have the bi-weekly town halls, we have the bi-weekly town squares, we have the other show that Aggie is putting out. I haven't really caught on that because it kind of is not right with my working time and I can't watch it right off. And all their daily Discord talking back and forth, they're doing a great job with keeping us up to date. With that said, am I kind of exasperated that Land isn't out? Yeah, but I'm glad that they're keeping us up to date on the QA process, and I agree it needs to be there, So it's more, they're working with an agile methodology, which a lot of development, that's really where development is these days. But this Land project is almost a waterfall type approach. It needs to be right before it's released, right? So there's a lot of other things in game that you can put out with agile and fix them as they go, but this Land, it needs to be right when it's released, at least the base level, and then they can work on things going forward. Let's see here. But the resources you are creating are consumable. You still need land for a reasonable resource source. Burning cards would just give you a small boost. Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth talking about, and there might be something going forward if they decide that we still need to burn cards. I would say on that kind of idea, thought process, that we wait until Land 1.5 actually goes live, see what happens to the card market, and then go from there. But like I've always said, more options are better than fewer. But to make these type of ideas happen, it does take development time. It takes developers to actually make it happen. And then, there's a lot of math on the back end that you have to make sure, to Virus's point, that the equations are actually working, that when you do something, you're getting the expected result, all right? I wonder if you will ever be able to create your own time crystals like you will be able to create items and spells. You need X amount of research tokens to unlock the time crystal recipe. That's interesting as well. However, I don't think that'll happen. Of course, anything could happen, right? But they've always had it in the white paper, and it's basically the idea or the storyline is that you're getting them from your local castle, right? But behind the scenes, the idea is that, excuse me, let me get a drink of water. The idea is to provide another DEC burn mechanism, right? So the crystals are always going to be there. They're always going to be from the storyline provided by your local castle. But the mechanism there is that you're burning DEC. And we've talked about this before, that up front, I think that the time crystals are going to be great, and they're going to be great in a situation where you want to get something up and running quickly. That's the whole benefit of them, right? But over time, as more and more grain gets onto the market and we start to get the actual grain market at like 1.6 versus just doing P2P trading, you will see tons and tons of grain on the market, and the price should come down. So over time, you're going to get in a situation where, oh, hey, I've got this plot of land. I'm working towards advancing it. Do I want to pay the money up front and pay a premium and get it up and running now, or do I just want to let my workers work and buy cheap food for them, right? And we've also talked about the idea, especially people with tracks or regions where you may have this nice, big, built-up team of really good monsters that are going to be able to come in and clear and get that land working quickly and move it from plot to plot. It goes on this plot, get your plot up and running quickly, goes to the next plot, and so forth. That's another idea. Obviously, you're paying for food, and the more PP you got going on, the faster it's going to be cleared, but the faster or the higher amount of food you're going to be paying while that's happening. So it's all just a game of math, and I'm not in a situation where I have to worry about that. I've got 10 plots. I've got enough DEC set aside to get all those 10 plots going on day one. Of course, another thought process there is we all know that if you try to do a bunch of things on day one when something releases, a lot of times there are server-side problems. So I don't know, and I really haven't looked into this. Maybe this is something I need to look into. But my thought process is, are these activities that we're doing on the blockchain? In other words, if you are staking your monsters, you're going through that screen where you're staking your monsters and your totem on the land. Is that a blockchain action, or is that just a server side, a Splinterlands server side action saying, hey, these monsters are staked on the land? The main thing I'm worried about is crushing the amount of actions happening on day one of land interfering with the Hive blockchain. That's what I'm worried about. So I'm wondering that. I don't know the answer to that. Just throwing it out there. Are you worried about the runway? How much money is left to keep the servers running in-game going without new incoming revenue? Do you think Splinterlands will last till demand comes back? That's a good question, Chuny. If I said I wasn't worried, I would probably be lying. Is it a major worry of mine? No, but it's something in the back of my head. And I think it should be in the back of everyone's head, especially, obviously, the more money you've put into the game, the more you should be worried about it. I think that the team has been going well for the last few years. as this bear market has extended, it's gotten us a little bit increasingly worried. Obviously, if they go under, then all the money we've put into this is moot, right? So yeah, I am moderately worried about it. I do think they've done as well as they can, and they've been very upfront. In fact, this team has been very much more upfront about their runway and where their money stands and investments than a lot of other games. So there's been a lot of games, and not necessarily, other massive games that have went under, and then all the money you've spent on the games just went away, right? So I am worried about it. But I think they've done as well as possible. All we can really hope is that we have a little bit of a bull market pretty soon. I think most of the changes that they've made have seemed logical to me to try to save their business. The last card sale, the Zerial, it struck me, and you saw my opinion on that. I think that's the last major profit card for them. I think they should pull back and do some more special cards like that, but not make them obscenely costly like that. Make them to a cost where, to cost of value, most players would want to buy one. And not come in with an obscenely high cost top end card that most players are not going to buy, and that would pull in. I also like the idea of them having a monthly subscription type thing that most other games do, that give you a certain small string of benefits for subscribing. That's like the major, that's the major business model for games these days. Having that monthly subscription gives you a steady monthly fee coming into your coffers, which would help out. I like that idea. In fact, most games I play, they have a free version, and then they have a subscription version, which, costs $10 to $15 a month, but it gives you some extra little bonuses that aren't exactly pay to win, but they help you out. I like that idea. So I am hoping for the best, which is against my nature, because I'm usually, like I said earlier, a glass half empty kind of guy. But I'm hoping for the best, and I'm improving my things. I did buy some packs this week. I bought an alpha card. And interestingly enough, I bought a summoner. I increased the level of my Ulrich Stormbringer from 3 to 4 this week, which was about $50. But I think it will help me out, not necessarily in gold, but in my run up from bronze to silver. So I am still invested in the game, and I still am allowing Archmage to play I know this is completely off topic, but it's the way my brain is going to kind of answer you that I'm still investing money in the game. And so I'm not overall concentrated on the worry about the game going under. So one thing I do want to point out, interestingly enough, since my account's been playing in Archmage's been playing my account in Wild since the changeover, I have been wondering which of the nicer summoners I should buy, and I've been going through and renting. Let's go in and look at the summoners. No. I hate how the page shifts around when it's loading multiple things. Let's look at... Okay, so on a series of weeks, I've rented out Lily, I've rented out Astral, I've rented out... I have Grandmaster Wraith, I've rented out Conqueror Jasek, I've rented out Possibilis. This week I rented out Immortalis. Now, my point behind this is these are all very good summoners, but guess what? Archmage just won't use them in Wild. I'm scrolling back. I have a lot of losses this last day. So this, over the last 3 days, it used Immortalis a total of once. Now, of course, I think this, it depends upon a lot what your deck is consisted of, but I have a good mix in my deck. And I was finding that, it sticks as Archmage, as far as Archmage goes in Wild, it sticks with the rare summoners, and it throws in, I do have an Ulrich, it does throw that in once in a while. It's about 50-50. It usually wins in silver, but in gold, not so much. So, would be cool if you could burn 5 max level monsters you have staked on your land, plus a certain amount of production points to level your land from common to rare. Yeah, that would be interesting, but that would also screw with their NFT numbers, because as far as I know, the NFTs of lands for each region were laid out. A certain percentage were common, a certain percentage were rare, and so forth. If you were able to bump that rarity up, it would screw with the NFT numbers. So I don't know. I like the idea, but I don't necessarily know if it would work, because the NFTs are sold on the whole premise that one's common, one's rare, etc. And that's what people are paying for, right? So interesting. I like the whole burning idea to get rid of things, but I think it's a grand idea, but it's harder to put in place unless you devise your game solely around that, like Splinterforge did. You would burn the monsters and the DEC, but would increase your land rarity to get the better bonus. You are then truly working land to make it better. Yeah, like I said, it would be interesting, but like I said, I think it would screw with NFT numbers. I am Cal13. Welcome in. Thanks for dropping by. Finally caught you live because I'm on night shift. I'm from Manila. What time is it in Manila? It's on the opposite side of the globe, so I'm guessing that you're between midnight and 2 a.m. somewhere there. But thanks for dropping by. I have several Filipino friends. They live here in the States now, but thanks for dropping by. If they sell 3 million packs at $4, that is 12 million to keep them going. Yeah, but at the same time, that's a lot of packs to sell. So, like I said, I'm always the small fish to go in and buy packs. That's why I'm still buying Chaos packs, and that's why I'm still buying Rift Watchers packs at the end, because I think that instead of front loading, I'm back loading, and I'm getting a lot better deal. So obviously, buying on the secondary market, I'm not really putting that money towards their coffers, but that money's already been put in their coffers from the original person that bought those packs. So I don't really feel bad about it. A lot of my videos in the past have all centered around trying to get that best deal. And I think right now, Chaos Legion packs and Rift Watcher packs are a great deal. So, especially Chaos Legion packs. If you're just coming into the game, this is a great time. Yes, cards are going up a little bit, but you could go in and get a few, 50 or 100 Chaos Legion packs at $1.50 each or $1.35 each, and have a good solid base of cards to start playing in bronze and silver, right? So it's a lot cheaper than when I came in, right? When I came in was in the middle of the bull run, and it was just really expensive. Love the fact that you're working on grabbing alpha cards. Yeah, that's just the card collector in me. I'm buying, most weeks I buy one alpha card, and I've worked my way up through the commons. I'm working my way up through the rares. I'm just going by, I just sort by lowest price per BCX for one BCX, and then I've been working my way through it. So I'm in the middle of rares now, which is pretty much where most of the summoners are, the regular summoners, not the fancy summoners. So do you think modern is becoming harder now that battle helpers are being used less? And Cal 13 chips in, that is 12:26. So it's exactly 12 hours from us. So, well, good morning, and thanks for dropping by. Back on Chuni's question, I think that, and I'm only going by what people are saying because I'm not playing. The only live games I play are my brawls each week or every few days, right? But I do have close contact with my brother who talks to me, and he's been playing Modern since the changeover. And I think that, directly to your point, first of all, during the changeover, it has made Modern more competitive. And I do think playing humans, it's harder. It's a weird conversation because when you're playing a bot or when you're playing a battle helper, which I consider like half the bot, we've talked about this before, because when you're playing a battle helper, you're not really playing a person's brain, okay, which I consider the major part of that bot. You know, the easy part of the bot is just clicking the buttons, right? The harder part of that bot is the battle helper, which is going in, pulling databases, referencing the databases, and finding the most likely hand to win under a certain condition, right? And even though you would think that it would be harder to play and beat a bot, I still think it's harder to play and beat a human, okay? Although, once in a while, if you're playing strictly against humans and not bots or battle helpers, you're going to get people that are not as experienced. Like if I jumped in Modern and you came up against me and you've been playing in Modern for weeks and weeks and weeks, you probably have a better percentage chance of beating me because I'm new, right? Or I'm not new, but I don't have a lot of experience in Modern. Because I can say one thing, that looking at my hand from playing Wild and trying to beef it up in certain ways to improve my odds in playing in Wild, or Archmage playing in Wild, is a completely different consideration versus being in Modern and the cards you're looking at, okay? And that's the whole point, right? So the whole point is making it easier, or making it more competitive for newer players to jump into Modern and not have to have the older cards. Even though what I've found is having a good solid deck of cards in Modern, you're still competitive in Wild. So my opinion is, I don't know, it's a tough discussion. I'm glad you asked that, because on one side, battle helpers are performing a lot of computations and against pulled down databases quicker than the human mind can run. However, when you're playing a human, they have the brain function to reference what they have experience with, and in certain situations know a lot better chance of what's going to win. So it's a tough call. I still think playing a human is tougher than playing a bot or a battle helper. But with that said, I still stand by my statement saying that if their whole goal is to have Modern being a human only, as well as I'm firmly for tournaments and brawls being human only, that there should be no bots, there should be no battle helpers. That should just go into Wild. I'm playing in Wild. I take it for what it is. You know, like I said, I know we're running over a little bit here. I've got a lot of losses building up. And we were talking about that earlier this week as well, in that it seems the matchmaking seems a little bit odd, because I'll get 5, 6, 7 wins in a row, and then I'll get 5, 6, 7 losses in a row. It's like I switched over into a different level or something like that. So it seems like Modern is more concentrated with full decks, not just Chaos Legion and Rift Watchers. Plus, there are less players. Issues getting worse. Let's see here. Well, I can agree with that, because the same statement, I believe, is in applies for guild brawls. I've noticed that in my secondary account, I play bronze because my secondary account has very low level cards. It usually plays in silver, but whenever I play the guild brawls, I play in bronze. But I'm at a severe disadvantage because my secondary account does not have maxed out cards, and I'll go in and I'll hit solid walls of maxed out cards and rented, people go in and do the Lamacron and that kind of stuff. And it's tough to play in bronze and silver in guild brawls because you hit maxed out level. So I agree with this statement. And with that said, I want to thank everyone for dropping by. And we're a few minutes over, but I do appreciate your time. Look forward in the next few days. I will be looking at those pre-proposals and giving out my opinion. So since I was asked on that, I will also be redoing my video on the new relatively new Splinterforge Electrum mine run. So. And Gathering gets the last statement. I think my longest losing streak was 21 games, but I'm staying the course and still forging. They're always going good days and bad days. I completely agree. With that said, I hope everyone on your side remains happy and healthy. It's a rainy day here in the U.S. East. Have a good evening, good morning. Get some good sleep over there in the Philippines, and I will see you on the flip side.